The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Now, I'm going to go bald. And that's not because I'm wearing a hat, okay? It's because Pettersson is still invisible. And I think the Canucks are playing Quinn Hughes not enough, okay? Rick Tocchet, you got to change your ways. Let's talk about it on Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also Canucks writer currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into the episode, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because guess what? It is your Canucks every damn day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you go like, subscribe, follow, leave a review out of the good of your goddamn heart on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, got to let you know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Speaking of getting started, it's a brand new series, okay? Best of three. It's going to come down to it between the Canucks and the Oilers. And yeah, Rick Tocchet mentioned it last night, but the Canucks need a lot more from a couple other players on the roster. Let's get into who he was talking about and get into the biggest problems with the Canucks right now. And also, let's keep it a bit optimistic, okay? I said Canucks in 7. I still believe, baby. And I know my co-host Kyle Bowen still believes too. Kyle, what's going on, bro?
I do believe. Can we just take 5 to 6 seconds to do this? We're going to win, okay? We're going to win this series. I'm guaranteeing it right now. And it's because of Archer Shilovs, okay? More on that in 20 minutes. Because I'm convinced that this guy is that dog. This guy is a guy who could steal a series. And sure, Leon and McDavid could do the same, but we have Shilovs, and then we have a couple guys who just got called out from Rick Tocchet last night. Anyways, Kyle Bowen, Trevor Beggs, glad to be here. The day after, we just saw that, man. What a roller coaster of emotions, right? That's playoff hockey. That's the highs and lows. And that's also well-deserved. Yes, the Canucks deserve to lose that game, obviously. They've deserved to, in my opinion, lose the better part of the last 3 games. If you're really watching this the right. Seriously. I know I know there's some people out there that are like, oh my God, look at the high danger scoring chances. Who cares about the shots on net? And who cares about the offensive zone pressure and blah, blah. Dude, we're getting outplayed like crazy, okay? The Vancouver Canucks deserve to get that split in Edmonton. And I'm also excited for this team to lose that way. For real. Why? Because they can't just be leaning on miracles. They can't be doing that. And leaning on a 23-year-old goaltender from Latvia. For real. Just true. Just the truth. I'm all over the place, man. They got taught a lesson yesterday, and I think it's going to lead to a better 60-minute effort. And I'm still convinced that if this team, that's, in my opinion, still pretty deep, albeit an invisible Elias Pettersson, I still think this team can win this best out of 3 against the Edmonton Oilers. Okay, I'm getting emotional. I'm all over the place. I'm not making sense. Trevor Beggs, take it away.
Well, here's the thing. You look at how the series has gone so far, and every game has been a 1-goal game. It has been a close series, despite what the shots might say. But it's hard not to say that the Oilers have been better than the Canucks. Okay, through 4 games, again, a lot of it is their power play just being so lethal. But even strength too, they're kind of controlling possession. And again, I think one of the biggest strengths for the Canucks coming into this series was their depth. Okay. It's funny looking at both teams right now. There's 8 forward lines between the Edmonton Oilers and Vancouver Canucks. There's 3 forward lines going in general. Okay. There's 1 line at Edmonton doing damage. We know who that is. And then with the Canucks, it's the Miller line and the Lindholm line. Okay. And again, the biggest problem with this team right now is that, a lot of the Oilers' depth is not performing, right? But in Vancouver, you have depth not performing, and you have Pettersson not performing. Now, I know we've talked about it more so in round 1, but is now prevalent again, right? Tocchet asked about Pettersson last night, and he just said he needs to get going. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, I think Tocchet's got to take some of the blame for this too, because Pettersson and McCabe is just not working. They keep trying to cycle different wingers between those two. But it's been Pettersson and McCabe just glued together for the entire postseason, and it has not worked, okay? I think McCabe is still pointless. I know him and Höglander have 1 combined assist, and I think it's Höglander that has the assist. So again, Mikheyev playing with Pettersson for pretty much all of his even strength minutes, and the guy's been held pointless. That is just not good enough. Now, I saw one stat this morning that really caught my attention. Pettersson during the regular season without Mikheyev was on the ice for 4.5 goals per 60 minutes. That would have led the NHL. Zach Hyman led the NHL with 4.34 goals per 60. While playing with Mikheyev, that is, Pettersson's about middle of the pack. It's 2 point something. So there's a stark difference between Pettersson with and without Mikheyev. And again, Rick Tocchet, it's fair to say that, we have some guys that aren't going. That's true. But Tocchet deserves some blame for this too, because he's got to figure out a way to get Pettersson going. And I know some of it is on Pettersson. He's got to be better. But you can't just trot him out there with Linus Karlsson and Ilya Mikheyev and expect this guy to succeed.
Or Sam Lafferty. And Trevor, I'm going to call you out just a bit. I think we got to get over ourselves and stop calling the Oilers a one-line team. Okay, they proved it yesterday. They made themselves into a two-line team. They really did. And when they were a two-line team in game number 1, they still got off to a 4-1 lead with big help to Ian Cole for helping them out with that. Straight up. And we'll get to Ian Cole in a little bit. But again, I don't think the Oilers are a one-line team. Okay, because again, it's been 3 straight games where the Canucks have no chance of generating offense consistently throughout this whole game of hockey, okay? This 60-minute game of hockey in regulation. That's a team effort from the Oilers, okay? Whether they're generating offense or not, it's, in my opinion, if you put 3 games together like that against a bunch of all-stars, and the Canucks have a bunch of all-stars, they're obviously doing something right. I don't think the Oilers are a one-line team. But yes, the Vancouver Canucks are a 2-line team. That's the truth. Because if you really look at it, and they're kind of being used like this too sometimes in the third period. Well, not yesterday, but it was the case in game 3. The Teddy Bluger line and the Elias Pettersson line are like 4th lines. And in fact, the Elias Pettersson line is a preseason line. It's a preseason line. And you know what? I'm glad that you called out Rick Tocchet a bit. He's been messing around during the second half of the season with Elias Pettersson, not being able to find him the right guys and just kind of sticking with the same guys for far too long. And one guy in particular is, Ilya Mikheyev. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get more out of him if they keep putting him out there. Maybe he needs to sit down. Maybe he needs a lesson learned. Because there's one thing about this guy's game that everyone continues to bring up, right, when it comes to keeping him in the lineup, and it's this speed. And I know that speed was a 95 way back when, and right now it's like an 87, and you may still need that, but man, oh man. If he's not even getting to that 87 overall speed, then what the hell is the point of having this guy in the lineup? There was multiple instances last night where he wasn't the first guy on the forecheck because he couldn't be. He's not that guy. And I want to go back to Pettersson and ask this, and maybe this is a dark question to ask. I don't want to paint this picture that this guy's not a guy that tries. Again, he needs to get his motor going. He's Mr. 11.6. He's that guy. If Draisaitl's playing with half a back, you know what I'm saying? Pettersson, we need the same from you. Straight up, you know what I'm saying? You got to bring your will up to another level. But there has to be a level of confusion. And I don't know how to say it, but he's lost out there because of who he is playing with. Like, what is his role? If his line mates are Linus Karlsson, Sam Lafferty, and Ilya Mikheyev. And there was a stat that came out after game 2, and I know Niels Höglander is definitely a defensive liability sometimes, right? It's just the truth. But with him on the ice in game 2, with Pettersson and Höglander and Mikheyev, I believe the shots were 8-1 in favor of the Vancouver Canucks. I could be wrong on that. Maybe it's 7-1. But I would take that offense way over what Mikheyev or Karlsson could do for you defensively. Why? Because, bro, Elias Pettersson is so vital to unlocking the true potential of this team. And this guy needs to unlock his swag. And it's easier to find that with a guy like Höglander. I know he's been struggling, but keeping him out of the lineup for 2 straight games is mad confusing. Mad confusing. And another guy who deserves some blame, and I know this guy is probably the hero in Vancouver right now because he's probably our second best forward, and he's been like that for the second half of the season, is Connor Garland. Why am I blaming him? Because he's given the game puck to Linus Karlsson after game 3. What are you doing? Artur Shilos has 40 saves, and you give the game puck to Linus Karlsson because he put a jersey on? Unreal. And that probably kept him in the lineup, man. I don't know. They need to play your best players. Like, the fact that the Oilers are leaning on their best players, we need to lean on our best players too and stop trying to, I don't know, just lean on structure and system. Like, has the structure worked? Dude, for the better part of the playoffs, has the structure worked? maybe, but we're also getting outshot by a ton of shots. This happened in Nashville too sometimes. Did you know that the Canucks broke the record, right? For the lowest shots on goal through the first 10 games of their playoffs? 203 shots in 10 games. Talk it. Open it up just a bit. Have some fun. And lean on your stars. You know what I'm saying? Lean on your stars.
Yeah, exactly. And again, what did we say, Kyle, coming into the series? If the Canucks don't get Pettersson going, they're not going to win this series. Now, I think glass half full is they're tied 2-2, and Pettersson, looked better in the first couple of games, but last night was kind of rough. Kyle, on the other side, there are some guys who are sitting in the press box who have chances to get in. You brought up Höglander. On the other side, I do want to talk about a couple of guys who I think might get into the lineup, a couple of guys who should come out in terms of talking about those passengers, and my ideal line mates now for Pettersson moving forward. And let's also touch on the defense as well. I know you brought up the name Ian Cole. Let's talk about who were passengers and who maybe looked good last night on the other side. Before we do that, let's shout out our friends over at Policygenius. All right, Kyle, right after we finish recording here, I'm heading into the eye of the storm, okay? I'm heading into Edmonton, Alberta, rocking the Canucks tank, rocking the Canucks hat, got the Canucks jersey ready to go. I might die, okay? But it's okay because I got a nice life insurance policy through Policygenius. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policygenius helps you compare options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step. You know what? Your work life insurance policy may not have enough protection for your family's needs. Even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. Dun, dun, dun. But it's all good because Policygenius, they give you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. And they also have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/LockedOnNHL or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quote and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/LockedOnNHL.
People, we back doing this, talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Kyle Bowen, Trevor Beggs here at the Don't Dose Art Lab. One love to the Don't Dose Art Lab for giving us the space to produce this show. They definitely are taking care of that West Coast bias. And speaking of that West Coast bias, I still got it, man. I still got it. I still think the Canucks are going to win. I still think a lot of these guys are going to wake up. I still think there's another level for this team to play at. I've been saying that for a long time. And it may be scary to tell yourself that there's this level that they can get to, but there's only potentially, 3 games left in this series. It's like, is there enough runway to find it? And again, you can be pessimistic and negative and say that's impossible, but I'm going to stick with it and say, dude, anything is possible in the playoffs, especially with this much talent on your team. And I still believe that the Vancouver Canucks have a ton of that. That being said, this whole notion of, and Trevor, I want you to touch base on this too. Like this whole notion that the Canucks are playing well structured and they're not giving up high dangerous scoring chances, and it's okay for them to get outshot by 20 shots. And like, don't look at the shots on goal. Look at the high danger scoring. Dude, shut up. That is like analytics. That's when people say analytics have root hockey, that ish just pisses me off. If a team is out shooting you by 25 to 30 shots, dude, they're playing way better than you. They're also generating a ton of more offensive zone faceoffs. You know what I'm saying? Just stop it. The Canucks have to play way better. Way better. You know what even bugged me too? After the Game 3 win, Brock Besser gets interviewed, right? And he's just bragging about the structure. Bro, you guys got bailed out about your goaltender. It's just the truth. This series should be 3-1. It should be 3-1. It really should be 3-1. The Canucks have to play better, man. And they got to open it up. Is it possible for them to open it up? And is it even more possible for them to open it up if Rick Tocchet, and this is another guy who needs to do more, not just Rick Tocchet, but Quinn Hughes. Rick Tocchet needs to play Quinn Hughes more. We've seen it in the past. Number one defenseman get a lot of minutes. And I know Quinn Hughes played 25 minutes yesterday, but when he played a lot in the second half of the game changed in the Canucks' favor. It's time to unleash Quinn Hughes. Stop evening out the minutes. Just play your best guy. Give Quinn Hughes close to 30 minutes a game and see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with that notion. I think it's possible for the Canucks to open it up. And I do think it has to start with lineup changes. And like you said, playing Quinn Hughes more now. What we did see last night is that with Noah Juleson in the lineup, the Canucks defense kind of turned into a top 3, bottom 3, right? You had Hughes, Hronek, and Zadorov all over 21 minutes, I believe it was. And then you had Ian Cole, Tyler Myers, and Noah Juleson. I think they were all under 17 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Now, getting Susie back is going to be a big help, but kind of what I want to see is maybe Hughes double shifting with Zadorov. Have Hughes with Hronek, Hughes, and Zadorov out there. I think that's a way to get Quinn Hughes some more ice time. And again, have him with the Canucks' best defenders, okay? And again, Kyle, you talked about how the Oilers aren't a one-line team. They had 2 guys step up last night that I saw, and it was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Evander Kane. And Evander Kane, we've been trashing the guy. I do think he's kind of lost his goal-scoring touch, but he was a physical menace, and he, caused some disruptions that led to the game-winning goal there. So up front, though, for the Canucks, again, I think they can open up, but they need to make some lineup changes. And the way I look at it, I'm kind of calling for bold decisions here. Like, I think you could probably sit all of Sam Lafferty, Ilya Mikheyev, and Linus Karlsson next game. And who are the guys in the press box? You know who I'm going to go to? Got Vasily Podkolzin, Nils Höglander, and Archibald Baines, the pride of Surrey. Let's go, baby. Come on. Archibald Baines, his creativity is going to bring you more than Sam Lafferty's bringing. He's going to bring you more than Linus Karlsson's bringing you. And again, I think the Canucks need to make some bold changes here because what's happening right now isn't working. And Kyle, let's look ahead a little bit too, right? Like, if the Canucks are to somehow get by the Oilers here, they're likely going to face the Dallas Stars, who are up 3-1 on the Colorado Avalanche. I don't know how much you saw game 4, but Dallas was out shooting Colorado like 22-4 midway through the second period. What do you think this Dallas Stars team is going to do to the Vancouver Canucks if they get to that level? I mean, the Canucks got to find a way to get more pucks on net. I'll push back the whole analytics thing a bit. If you look at ozone time, if you look at high danger scoring chances, they are closer. But again, the fact they're allowing a lot of shots is it's a recipe for disaster a little bit.
Come on, bro. I seen something like that. Somebody was like, oh, but the high danger scoring chances from last night's game were the same. Bro, I watched the effing game. That's not the truth, bro. That's not the truth. How many times was Archer Sheelovs going side to side to make a save? You know what I'm saying with this pat? Like, dude, the Canucks, how many times was Calvin Pickard really making big saves last night? You cannot tell me the high danger scoring chances were the same. It's not the truth. It's not the truth, man. The Oilers are doing their thing, bro. They're doing their thing, and we have a comment here saying, this is from Alan. Thanks a lot, Alan, for the comment. Kyle, shots are going to come against that big 3, okay? Yes, I know that's the case, whether they're split up or not. When McDavid and Draisaitl are on the ice, they're the best players in the world. They're going to do their thing. I know that. But, 50% of the game, they're also not on the ice. And we got to do our thing. And it does come from the top, and a lot of it, again, has to do with Pettersson. I don't know if you want to do this now, but can I? And this is just an emotional episode, okay? There's no structure here. It's the playoffs, okay? We're going through the motions. Can we talk about some line combinations?
Hell yeah, man.
I was thinking about this. And our offense has not been the same. And I know it's probably impossible to do, right? Because this line, they score goals, right? Lindholm, Garland, and Joshua. But that being said, I don't think we've seen more than 2 games from them through 10 where through 60 minutes, they've been consistent period in and period out. Just like the Vancouver Canucks or all the Vancouver Canucks, they tend to wake up offensively in the third period when they're down by a goal or they're down by a couple midway through the game. So I would still consider putting Blueger back on that line and then moving Pettersson to the wing with Lindholm. Because one thing I've noticed about Pettersson right now, too, his lack of confidence is making him into a liability and an absolute no-show defensively as well, or just a neutral player defensively. And back in the day when we were bragging about Pettersson, his effort level was off the charts. He was that guy defensively. But right now, this guy does not have the confidence he's lost out there. And I don't even trust him as a center, especially against those guys. Straight up. Dude, like, if we want Pettersson to get his confidence, I get there's more pizzazz or more speed and maybe more creativity with Höglander, Podkolzin, and Baines. But if that's the solution, we may be running into the same problem. Get him up with Lindholm. Lindholm has been a dominant player over the last couple of games. He's one of the best two-way players in the game right now. Straight up. I seen a stat. Like, I didn't even know he was doing all these things. I'll post a picture in a couple minutes after you're done your spiel, but I think they got to do something there. And again, Teddy Blueger with Garland and Joshua is going to work.
Yeah, you're a big fan of the former best third line in hockey there, man. And honestly, I had kind of 3 combinations for Pettersson going through my head. One was Höglander, Lindholm, and Pettersson. Have Pettersson on the wing. Lindholm's going right now. I do think that hurts the center depth a bit. I think the Canucks are still a bit of a 2-line team if they do that. So I don't think they're going to go that way.
They're a 2-line 2 team. Just bring it, dude. Bring it, bro. But you don't think Blueger can do it with Garland and Joshua? Garland is a play driver. Garland is our second best forward. He's still going to be on a line on his own. I still feel as if he'll bring a lot to the table.
I kind of wonder though. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I kind of wonder if Rick Talk's looking at Teddy Bluger as one of those guys that's not really bringing it right now. Teddy Bluger does feel like he's chasing the game a bit now. Maybe putting with Garland and Joshua is the answer. I also wonder too if putting Garland and Joshua with PD could be a solution as well. Lindholm's going right now. Maybe he can carry some other line mates with the way he's playing, some of that physicality. So that's something I was thinking. The other thing I was thinking too is maybe Höglander, Suter, and Pettersson. Those three had some success last season as well. So this is kind of the three combinations I'm throwing around in my head. But yeah, Kyle, like you said, it's I see what you mean in terms of trying the best third line in hockey again and putting Höglander and Pettersson and Lindholm together. I feel like the coaching staff's not going to go that way though.
Yeah, I mean, they said there's going to be a lot of changes. They've
We'll
tried
see.
to get Pettersson going in so many different ways, and it's important. But you did say something earlier that like, oh, the Canucks can't win this series without Pettersson. Again, the way Sheeloves is going, I think they still can, man. These games are going to be close, and if Pettersson's not going, like Garland's going, and Miller might have a better game than he did yesterday, and Bescher's going, straight up. Can you touch on this too? Like, I know you briefly touched on it, but am I out for lunch when talking about bumping up Quinn Hughes' minutes off the charts? Because another reason why I'm doing it is not just for his transition play or more offensive zone time. I've seen it in the last 2 games. One of the only competent defensemen on this team when the Canucks are pinned in their own zone is Quinn Hughes. Like, he's actually really elusive right now. Over the last 2 games, he's done really, really good, dodging checks and getting the puck out. And right now, there's like 40-minute stretches where nobody on the Canucks is able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I see Connor McDavid playing 30 minutes, and I just think there's not really much of a reason why Hughes can't play 30 minutes a game right now. And he hasn't really crested that too much, right? Like, he was almost averaging more ice time in the regular season by the looks of it. And I know the playoffs are physical, but it's not like Quinn Hughes is really getting banged around as much as he was in that Nashville series. So I agree. You got to play Quinn Hughes more. These are desperate times, right? Canucks got 2 games before advancing or 2 games before they're eliminated. Now is the time to start playing Quinn Hughes a lot. And I do think that Rick Tocchet is going to lean that way. Let's wrap up the show on the other side. I do got a couple other things I want to talk about in terms of defensemen. Let's get to a couple comments. But before we do that, let's shout out our friends over at FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. And let's touch on the one thing quickly, okay? Coming into this round of 8, the second round, the Canucks had the lowest cup odds of any of the 8 teams remaining. This team is a massive underdog in this round. Let's not forget about that, right? Lost in the shuffle. They've been outshot by 42 shots in the series. The shots have been 124-82, Edmonton over Vancouver. But again, the Canucks were an underdog. They still played Edmonton damn close in every game. They've had a chance to win every game. And again, I think the Canucks should be happy that they have a split right now, and they know that they got to be a bit better to close this thing out, okay? I'm believing in your Vancouver Canucks, and if you believe in the Vancouver Canucks and you want to sprinkle a few buckaroonies on it, make sure you do it. So on FanDuel, they are America's #1 sportsbook.
Boom, bam.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.
Okay, we back doing this. And that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks after they lose Game 4 in heartbreaking style, for real. That was something else. Straight up. To tie the game up with 1:40 left and to lose it with 39 seconds left is, again, something else. And to see Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm continue to score goals is making me itch and fiend for more Quinn Hughes. I'm not blaming him. I'm not trying to do that. I could put a lot of blame on Filip Hronek too, okay? 0 points in 10 games. What? Can I say that again? 0 points in 10 games for Filip Hronek. But man, oh man, seeing Evan Bouchard score some big goals. He has 2 game-winning goals now in clutch situations. I think that motivates Quinn Hughes to do something big in the next coming games. But that's gonna take Rick Tocchet maybe ditching some of his philosophy. I know there's such a stick with it type of team, right? Stick with the structure, stick with the plan, and it's worked. And look how resilient this team is, and look at their patience approach. It gets them back in the game and whatnot. But I think there's a way for the Canucks to break games wide open if they're a little bit more loose. And I know that's a scary thing to do, but against the Oilers, but if you really look at it, the Oilers have been playing loose this whole series, and Shelovs is doing it. He's in the zone. I don't think this guy's he's not gonna break. Uh, he's a star right now. All that being
Yeah.
said, Rick Tocchet, let these guys play, man. Speaking of letting them play, is Ian Cole, like, is this guy a scratch? Like, does Noah Juleson have a chance to play another game here?
I think he's got a chance, but I don't think Noah Juleson was great last night either, right? Like I think he was obviously hungry to make an impact last night, and stepping up to hit Ekholm hurt the Canucks, and we saw him make that exact same play against the Winnipeg Jets in the regular season, right? When he belted Mark Scheifele, and it leads to a 2-on-1 and a goal against. So, I like to think Noah Juleson can learn from his mistakes, but he didn't learn from that mistake, right? And Ian Cole's been bad too, so it's tough. I'm not sure what to do with Ian Cole. It's not like Noah Juleson or Mark Freeman. I don't think is much of an answer either. You like to think Cole is going to figure it out. He's been in the playoffs a long time, but man, oh man, it's just turnover after turnover after turnover right now with that guy. And it's kind of hard to watch. And, I saw some of the comments.
What do you think it is? What do you think it is, Trevor? Like, you're a grown man. You got the beard, sometimes, you just have bad days, but like, this is a 4-game stretch that I don't think I've seen in a player in quite, like, this is some Luka Spiza type ish for real. And before you answer that question, can I say this? Like, I know Noah Juleson stepped up and he caused a goal because he went out of position and blew up Ekholm, and it led to a 2-on-1. But honestly, if it's going to be a long series, at least he nailed Ekholm. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ekholm's going to feel that hit, and he's already hurt. So Noah Juleson, not all is lost.
Yeah, it's all good. I wouldn't mind seeing Noah Juleson get in for a game with Cole sitting for a bit because, like I said, he's been rough, man. It's been rough to go for Ian Cole, but Tyler Myers too was another guy last night who, and I saw someone in the comments here. Maybe I'll shout it out, but they said Myers has been good. Look, Myers last night I thought had a bit of a hard game. I think he was on the ice for 4 shot attempts, 4 and like 30 against or something like that.
Whoa!
So when Myers is on the ice, the Canucks were pinned the whole game. I don't know if that was all on Myers, but when he's on the ice against McDavid and Draisaitl, that line is generated. They're always generating, but they seem to be especially generating against Tyler Myers on the ice. And again, I think Susie coming back is going to help, but I don't think Cole or Myers had a particularly good game last night. I don't think Juleson had a great game either. I saw one comment who said he was fine, but I just see some tentativeness in his game right now and just not quite reading the game properly, like either being too tentative or too aggressive. So yeah, it's a few guys got to step up, as Rick Tocchet said, and that includes on the D and at forward. But like you said, Kyle, I think some of the keys are, playing Quinn Hughes more and Pettersson, get him new line mates. Something's got to change there. Those are the 2 big keys for the Canucks heading into Game 5.
Well, again, Rick Tocchet used the term pause hockey, right? The Canucks are playing pause hockey. And yeah, over the last 3 games, you can kind of see that. The Canucks are just watching, and I feel as if they're just waiting for Shelovs to make a save or for the Canucks to just like get a bounce in the defensive zone so they can get the puck out instead of just initiating force and getting the puck themselves. But this again goes all the way back to my comment about Quinn Hughes. I feel as if over the last 2 games, the only guy, maybe Zadorov is a bit of this too, but the only guy who seems poised when under pressure and under duress is Quinn Hughes. Maybe I'm just too biased right now. It didn't sound like Rick Tocchet was too pleased in Quinn Hughes yesterday. Like, he's really nonchalant when asked about the metrics showing that this team was just way better when Quinn Hughes was on the ice yesterday. Duh. But I think the script can change in this series if Quinn Hughes plays more. And man, I know Draisaitl and McDavid didn't play so much yesterday, but come on, man. These guys are dominating us. They're converting. They're executing. They're efficient. Look at the play Draisaitl made to Bouchard yesterday. Their best guys are just being their best guys. And yeah, we could beat them with quote unquote depth, but I wouldn't mind us, going all in with our stars here too, just to see something instead of, again, just like waiting till Edmonton makes a mistake or, waiting till the 3rd period to do something. Like, dude, just go at them. Let's go at them all game. Let's go brute force for brute force. All-stars versus all-stars. I believe in the Canucks. I believe in Quinn Hughes, and I believe there's a possibility for success in that route as well. And bro, at the end of the day, it's like we either do that or we continue to do the same thing, and the same thing equates to us like relying on a 23-year-old goaltender and Archer Shelov's. Like, bro, how is this guy doing this? How is he doing this? It's unreal. Like, you can argue that he's had a better stretch of games than Roberto Luongo's ever had in his playoff career. That's just
dang. Yeah, no, I mean,
he's
Roberto
doing
Luongo
crazy
definitely had
things.
he had an interesting legacy when it came to the playoffs, and Shilovs is a big key right now, right? And again, I don't think Picard was great last night. Picard wasn't really tested. You look at the expected goals against. I think the Canucks had, or so the Oilers had 1.57 expected goals against. So Picard led in 2 goals. He was above that. The Oilers had 3.3 expected goals for. So Shilovs again had stopped more than the expected, right? There was 3 goals he allowed. So Shilovs was great again last night, man. A number of key saves. You see the confidence when he came way out of his net there. And again, it's crazy that we're talking about a 23-year-old rookie
Dude,
as a guy that could potentially help the Canucks get to the conference final. Kyle, there's one more comment here I do want to touch on. Speaking of young guys who can make an impact, Tyler M comments here, what are the chances that Lekkerimaki plays, okay? Now, I'll say this. I think that the odds are very, very slim, okay? Like, I'll give it like 5%. He had 1 goal and 1 assist in 6 AHL games. But when we're talking about putting like Archdeep Bains in and Vasily Podkolzin in, Podkolzin no goals in 18 NHL games this season. Archdeep Bains no points in 6 or 7 or 8 games. You would talk about getting Pettersson going. I mean, putting him with, potentially the best offensive player not playing on this team in Lekkerimaki. I know it may be a bold statement because we got Höglander on the sidelines, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about any interest in seeing Lekkerimaki play in the postseason here?
I just don't see Tocchet doing that. I don't even know if I'm interested in.
Don't worry about Tocchet, man. How do you feel about it?
I don't want to do it. I feel like this guy's gonna get hurt, dude. Straight up. Straight up. That this has been a physical series, and I'd rather see Podkolzin. I just rather maybe we'll end it on this note. And again, super busy day today. Sorry we didn't get to a lot of comments. I haven't seen Trevor in a while. Okay, and I'm an emotional guy, so I just wanted to talk to him today. All that being said, if we're talking about what Mikheyev brings to the game or what he's supposed to bring to the game, it's speed, right? That's the only thing he's doing right now, speed. And if he's not fast or super fast, what's the point of having this guy in the lineup? Like, Höglander's quicker than him. Podkolzin's just as quick as him. That's the change. I mean, if you're going to scratch Kuzmenko, Tocchet, then why aren't you scratching Ilya Mikheyev? It's time. It's time.
It's time to scratch Ilya Mikheyev. And it's also time to get out of here, man. I got 10 minutes. I got to check out here and head to Edmonton, Alberta, into enemy territory, repping the Canucks colors. And you know what? Again, after a loss, man, but it is go Canucks go, okay? And I did say Canucks in 7 from the jump. This is also the same guy that said Canucks in 6 against the Predators, and look how that turned out, okay? You got to listen to your boy Begsy sometimes, man. I don't know a lot, but I know a thing or two, okay? I've seen the future, and the future is Canucks Stars Conference Finals. Let's go! Okay, that's the energy here. Locked on Canucks, your Canucks every day. Shout out to the everydayers, occasional listeners, first-time listeners, new subscribers, and those of you who listen on the live show on YouTube. Hey, we don't care when you're listening, where you're listening. The fact that you're tuning into the show, it means a lot to us. Again, it's the time to listen to Canucks hockey, man. Stretch drive, baby. Game 5, Thursday night. I'll be in beautiful Jasper, Alberta for that one. Repping the Canucks colors, getting drunk off the blue and green. Let's go, baby. Kyle, anything to say to the people before we get out of here?
No, go Canucks, go, man. We got this, man. I'm not worried. Again, heartbreaking way to lose the game yesterday, but I don't know why. Again, I think a lot of it had to do with Shilovs, straight up. Like, I'm convinced this guy's going to keep us in the series, and now it's the best out of 3. And at the end of the day, I think you got to be content with that, because the reality is you are going against 2 of the best players of all time. They're still in their prime. So it's like this issue is going to happen, right? It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen, man. Just like Canucks in 7 is happening. All right, go Canucks, go. You've been listening to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day.
Go Canucks, go. Canucks in 3. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.